Hi folks, this is Vivek from Delhi Law Academy, and today we're going to look at a topic called analogies. Shows up very commonly in most logical reasoning and verbal reasoning tests. So the question is, what is an analogy? And an analogy question typically gives you a set of two or three items which at first glance don't have a relationship among them. And the type of question that you will be asked is to find the relationship among them and then identify which of the choices obeys the same relationship. So that's all you need to do. You need to apply your lateral thinking a little bit to see what the relationship is among those two or three items. So we'll be looking at a few examples in this video, but just to prepare you, the relationship sometimes is just English, sometimes it involves GK, and sometimes it also has simple arithmetic. So you need to apply your lateral thinking and be open to all kinds of ideas for these relationships. Okay, so the first question that let's look at is, it says curd is to milk is as shoe is to what, right? So we are trying to figure out what should come in this space. Now, curd and milk, what is the relationship in between these two? So you can call this as kind of a made from relationship. So curd is made from milk. So we're looking for shoe is made from what among these four choices. So obviously the most obvious answer, or the most eligible answer is A, leather. It can be argued that shoes can be made from paper and jute, but these are not the most obvious or the most common answers. If someone were to ask you what is a shoe typically made of, then the answer would be leather, and that's why A is the answer. Okay, next question. So now we have three items. We have calf, piglet, and shed. And the relationship between calf and piglet doesn't seem to make much sense, because if you look at the choices, you have prison, nest, pigsty, and den. And all these are places of residence. They're not related to animals, right? Prison is where human beings live, pigsties are where pigs live. So I think in this question, the relationship is slightly different. Rather than looking at calf to piglet, don't look at this. Try looking at calf to shed. Then the whole thing makes sense. Now you're looking for piglet should be what in this space, right? So now the relationship is lives in or is kept in. So the relationship is lives in, and calf lives in shed, so piglet lives in what? And then the answer is obvious, it's pigsty. Pigs live in a pigsty, so C is the answer. Now here's another question, guys, and this one is somewhat more interesting. This one says malaria is to mosquito is as what and what. So here we actually have two things to fill, not one, right? And the principle remains the same. You're looking for the relationship between malaria and mosquito. Your options are poison, death, cholera, water, rat, plague, medicine, disease. Now here's the interesting thing. Malaria is the disease and mosquito is the carrier, right? Mosquito is the carrier. So we have disease, carrier. That's the order, right? So we have disease, and then we have next to it is its carrier. So our job is to look at our four choices and see which of them can be characterized by this. Poison, death, not really. How about rat, plague? So rat, plague almost makes sense because rat is the carrier and plague is the disease. But unfortunately their order is swapped. If it was plague, rat, then we had the answer, but it's not. So we can't choose this. So the answer comes out to be B, cholera, water. And that's because cholera is the disease and it is a waterborne disease. It is carried by water. So the carrier is water, and that is why B is the correct choice. Another interesting question, guys. This is of a different type. This is actually a coding decoding question rolled into an analogies question. And at first glance, it looks quite scary, but it turns out to be quite simple actually. All you have is you have ABC corresponds to ZYX, and you being asked what does CBA correspond to. So there are actually a number of ways to solve this question. The first and the most simple way is just to see that ABC becomes ZYX. So CBA, you expect it to be, since this is just the whole thing reversed, so you expect this also to be reversed. So you expect it to be X, Y, Z. and you would not be wrong because that is the correct answer. A is the correct answer, so that's absolutely fine. That is one logic. Another logic you can think of is to look at the character positions, right? And there's more detail on this in our lesson on coding decoding. So this and many other questions like this are covered there. But to very simply recap, now A, B, C, A is the first character, B is the second character, and C is the third character. This corresponds to now Z, Y, X. Z is the 26th character, Y is the 25th, and X is the 24th. So you can clearly see the cipher that's going on, right? If you consider the character position to be N, where N for A is 1, N for B is 2, N for C is 3, then the code is essentially 26 plus 1 minus N, right? So it's 26 plus 1, 27, minus 1, so 26. 26 plus 1, 27, minus 2, 25. 26 plus 1, 27, minus 3, 24, right? Or you can even say 27 minus N. So this is the cipher that is being used, and if you wanted to apply the same cipher, you would get the same result. So if you have CBA, and if you write down the positions, you have 3, 2, and 1, and you apply the code 27 minus N. So 27 minus N on 3 is 24, 27 minus N on 2 is 25, and on 1 is 26. And if you look at the alphabets that correspond to 24, 25, and 26, that's X, Y, and Z. So we got the same answer again. We got X, Y, Z again. Just that now we know how to get it. We know the code behind it. So you could use this method, and that's totally fine. It will in fact save you time in the exam. So I would advise using this method. But if you want to know how things work, what the nuts and bolts are behind, then this is what is going on. There's a 27 minus N cipher that's being used, and using this is also perfectly fine. It just takes more time, but that's the logic. So this was a quick video summarizing some of the ways that you can solve analogy problems in an exam. We've covered some of the most common types. There are a few more types in the exercises. Most of them have solutions. If you still have doubts, feel free to contact us. This is Vivek from Delhi Law Academy. Thanks for watching.